Bo Pearson here with Volt, joined by Coach Emily Andersen at Colorado College. Emily, thanks for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we're going to talk a little bit about coaching philosophy today. And I have some questions prepared, and I just really want to kind of give you the floor and let you just kind of share your thoughts. I know your director of strength conditioning at Colorado College, Coach Scott Caulfield, does a lot and gives many talks on coaching philosophy as well.
Yes.
So excited to kind of hear your thoughts as a strength coach. But first, can you just kind of give us a little bit of an intro, kind of fill us in on what it's like for you as a coach at Colorado College, what teams you might be working with, maybe like the 1 or 2 minute version of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is officially coming on my first year of being here. I was an intern a couple of years ago, and it's just an awesome place. The kids are fantastic. The coaches are so supportive. Our athletic department staff in general is just super supportive. And sunny Colorado can't beat it.
Yeah.
But it's just an awesome place to be. And I'm really thankful that I'm in this kind of location and this kind of college. Just the amount of support and help that people give me is just unwavering. I mean, it's fantastic. And, I work with men's and women's lacrosse. I work with men's and women's tennis, work with women's volleyball and men's and women's cross country. And I help out with all the other sports where I can. And it's been a very humbling experience to come in and take on a lot of stuff and just kind of be drinking from a fire hose constantly for after day, just trying to get my feet under me. So it's just been a humbling experience and super cool.
You guys are a pretty small coaching staff, right? For all of
we do, teams? Yeah. It's just Scott Caulfield and I. We have a bunch of helpers, a couple of part-time interns that come and help us, and that is definitely awesome. I know we've definitely benefited from that, and given younger coaches a little bit of hand in building their own coaching style and philosophies and training philosophies. So it's good for everyone.
Yeah, definitely an awesome environment for those young coaches to kind of start fostering their own, like you said, coaching abilities and awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So jumping into some of the questions I had prepared, would love to kind of just give you an open floor with the kind of open question of what does it mean to have a coaching philosophy? Coming from a strength conditioning background, people who view this interview, they might be strength coaches, they might be sport coaches, they might be athletes who are interested in coaching. So what does it mean to you to have a coaching philosophy?
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, it's the why behind what I do and why I do what I do as a strength coach. I'm really passionate about my position because of my past experiences. When I was in college, I played at the Division I level, and my coaches, both in the weight room and on the field, and just being in the weight room in particular, helped me become a stronger version of myself mentally and physically. But the mental piece was so much bigger than I knew at the time. And it's my why is because of that. I want to provide my athletes with a safe place to learn those mental and physical milestones that they can kind of call on through the rest of their lives, like I have now. I want to maximize their resiliency, and their durability of them, and give a population of kids like I once was a safe place to learn all of that. And, I chose this path because I wanted to give back to that community, and I want them to have a safe place to fail and try again, and succeed. And, some of the things that I learned, I want to be able to give back in terms of, just owning what they do, their inactions and their actions, and give people a chance to step up and lead. Maybe the biggest voices on the team aren't necessarily the only leaders on the team. I want to give them a space to try and enhance their communication within their team, with other teams, with other student athletes, and just practice discipline, practice a focused attention to detail, and just overall a positive vibe. I mean, what way to let go of some to lift up something heavy and put it back down,
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, but I mean, just at the core of it all, including people, giving people the opportunities to learn some discipline, and just bring that energy every single day, and being positive and hopeful for what's to come. My coaching philosophy is kind of all those things that I stand up for and will always stand up for.
Yeah, you in that whole description, you kept relating what happens in the weight room to bigger aspects of life.
Absolutely.
Taking on challenges.
These things will carry on for forever, throughout the rest of their lives and their jobs and everywhere. So, what better place than to kind of echo that here and give them a chance to do it.
So that realization for you, is that something that comes naturally, or is that something for you, did you have to develop that sort of philosophy?
I definitely had to develop it. I'm pretty stubborn, so there's a couple of times where, I tried so hard to do one thing and it just blew up in my face, and I had to kind of take a step back and, realize that I might have good ideas, but they're not always going to work.
Yeah.
Ideas that turn out to be not great. I think developing my coaching philosophy kind of takes a past, present, and future perspective, in terms of what I've seen growing up, what I saw my coaches do, what I've seen other coaches do through, internships, and watching athletes and coaches interact and seeing what works and what doesn't work. I hold on to the moments that I've had pretty dearly, because it's kind of my job now to give the chances for my athletes to have those moments and have those light moments of what they can do and what they're, build their confidence and give them opportunities to see that and do it. And so, even now watching webinars and listening to podcasts and kind of branching out a little bit and listening even to the sport coaches. We have a weekly talk with the sport coaches, and I love listening to them talk about their athletes and what they're doing. And I like to take a page from everybody else's book to kind of build my own book at the end of the day and build my own foundation of what my coaching philosophy is and means.
Yeah.
And looking into the future, there's a lot of things I would love to do, and I just, at this time, haven't figured out how to do them yet. I've got them written down, and I'm striving for them. But ultimately, I'm going to be a lifelong learner, and that includes that coaching philosophy. A lot of stand for, but I'm still learning.
Yeah, when I was going to ask you outright, how do you develop your own coaching philosophy? But I think you kind of touched on it there. A huge component that you've implemented to develop your coaching philosophy is just observation.
Absolutely.
Is kind of what
we can
I'm
learn
hearing.
a lot from watching people.
Yeah, and it's also really, really cool to hear, you don't have to just pay attention to other strength coaches if you're a strength coach. You mentioned listening into your sport coach conversations, that, other sources. You mentioned webinars, podcasts, other sources or methods for developing that coaching philosophy that come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Even just straight up asking people. I've gotten a chance to ask some coaches, things that they've tried and maybe it didn't work so great, and I thought about trying it, but they can kind of give me the insight that it's not always going to work. It's been, even the sports, we got the sport coaches, we've got sports med, even just some administrators and staff, talking to the athletes and kind of gaining little pieces of information from them. I really think taking my past experiences has molded me a lot, though. I played on Division I program, and I sat the bench for 3 out of 4 of my years. And I joke because I was an 8-day-a-week athlete. I did something every single day to try and get on the field, and struggled with that. But there was a mentality shift, in the way that I kind of presented myself. It still meant something that I played on a Division I program. Like, I felt accomplished. And there's kind of a resiliency mindset that I took, that I try to use now as my coaching philosophy. Is like, not everything is going to be fireworks and bright and, all good, and fine all the time. Like, you're going to have extreme highs and lows, but like, your resiliency to get through it all and to stand up on your own feet and keep going and keep getting back up is like, that's huge. And I really value that. And that's something that, you know, my past really taught me. And, you know, I hold on to that very dearly.
That's really cool. And it actually kind of is a nice segue into my next question is, you know, how do you, if you're an assistant, right, you're not running the show, or you're new to a department or new to a program, how do you practice your own philosophy if there's already an existing one in place?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very much so the case. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's always going to be that. And, you know, I came in and I kind of took it slow. I appreciated, I got to watch another coach that I hold near to my heart. I got to watch him come in halfway through a program year and take over some teams. And it was just, it's a slow transition. And it helped me kind of slow down and like pump my brakes. I couldn't come in guns blazing, like, I'm going to change this, and this, and we're going to do all these things and none of this, you know?
Yeah.
I came in a little bit slower, and I was, you know, kind of proud of myself for that. Changed a few things, but like majority of it, you just have to talk to people. Like I went and talked to the sport coaches. I went and talked to the athletic trainers. You know, I keep in touch with the coach that was here, Kevin Cronin. You know, I've still kept in touch with him, and, you know, I get a little bit of information from everybody to try and slowly, you know, change things, integrate myself a little bit more here and there. With Scott and I both being new at the same time, you know, we kind of go hand in hand. We're like the yin and the yang. He's the calm, the storm kind of. If you haven't understood yet, I kind of make coffee nervous. But, you know, as an assistant, it is my job to echo, you know, Scott's voice and the vision that we have for the athletes and the school's vision, the athletics department and everything. But I kind of look at it as me and Scott are like a Venn diagram. We both have our own things and our own philosophies. His is much more advanced than mine. I'm still learning. But we do overlap on certain things. You know, we do overlap on some of our core values. We overlap on the idea of physical and mental toughness, character of our students. I mean, our basic job, you know, increase performance and reduce the risk of injury, but like, for our coaching philosophies, we do have a lot of similarities in that sense.
Yeah.
And just being that echoing voice for all of that is part of my role as an assistant. But, you know, he's really, I've had very open conversations about him, about what I'm doing and what my philosophy is and how I'm doing. So we talk a lot. I ask him, you know, how am I doing and what can I do better? So a lot of self-reflection. And, you know, we're never the same as when we started. So
yeah, hopefully not.
I try to be a lifelong learner, and I try to keep being a better assistant.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if I'm a coach watching this, you know, kind of summertime, which is when this video will go out, it's usually a good time to do some self-reflection and look at the year or the season ahead. Where do you think is a really good starting point? If you were to just suggest, you know, are there certain exercises? Do you focus on core values? What might be a good starting place for a coach that's looking to have a better grasp of their coaching philosophy?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I took COVID as a time, this whole pandemic as a time to kind of laterally think and reflect on where I've been, what my goals are. Do I need to change my goals? And I think physically writing out some of this stuff really helped me kind of start to create those pathways and what I needed to focus on. And I found it very helpful and almost peaceful. You know, my brain sometimes looks like a ping pong ball, just constantly. And until I actually like got it out onto paper, I was really stressed out about it all. So it was helpful to start by just simply writing it down. I mean, even looking at some of this questions you sent me and things, you know, I had to physically write it out, and it gave me more organization and structure to, you know, what I'm doing and where I want to go. And So, I mean, I think it's a good place to start by just writing anything down. I mean, whatever you've got,
Yeah.
and on it and look back at it and see what you have and, what you want to add or take away and things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Just having the space, right? Just making the space for yourself to
Absolutely.
think that way is really important.
Yeah.
I did notice that book right behind you. I think it's behind your left shoulder. I was going to
Yes.
I've got my copy here. I swear we
Nice.
did not plan this. I swear we
There we
did not
go.
plan this. I was going to point to that. It's Coaching Better Every Season by Wade Gilbert is the author. You can probably find it anywhere online. It was actually a recommendation that I received from Dr. Joe Eisenman, our head of sports science, but an awesome resource. The beginning of the book is really focused on crafting your philosophy and your core values and knowing yourself before you start to actually perform coaching duties and organizing practice plans. It does get into all of that and gets into the motor learning components and communication, but it starts first with yourself. And I think it's something that I've heard you repeat over and over again is, know yourself, know yourself really well. And that will open your eyes to a lot of opportunities in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's on my list of books to read next, for sure.
Awesome, Emily. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your ideas and for being willing to kind of put yourself out there in that way. Thanks
Absolutely.
for bringing the energy, for bringing the juice. And if anybody viewing this video has questions, obviously comment, reach out to us. We'll kind of link out to some resources in the description. But again, Emily, thank you so much. And everybody else, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.